The wife leaves the building, clutching a pregnancy report, a joyful smile on her face. She peeks through an office door, her smile vanishes, she sees her husband embracing another woman. The wife's face falls in shock and horror. Her husband speaks to the other woman, his expression cold and dismissive. The wife's hand trembles, then clenches into a fist, her eyes hardening with resolve. Later, in a dimly lit club, a powerful CEO lights a cigarette. The wife appears before him, her expression now cold and determined. She sits across from him as an assistant brings a contract, an equity transfer agreement. The CEO leans in, speaking intensely, warning her of the consequences. She meets his gaze without flinching, taking a calm sip of her drink. The husband appears with his mistress in the office hallway. He takes a document from her, and his face breaks into a wide, happy smile. He speaks to her with affection. The wife watches from afar, tears streaming down her face as he explains his cruel plan. He pulls the mistress into a celebratory hug. The wife crushes her own report in her hand. Back in the club, she decisively signs the contract. The CEO pushes a black credit card across the table. She picks up the agreement, her eyes burning with cold fury. Her revenge has just begun. The wife enters the office. She places a divorce agreement on the desk. The husband signs it without a second thought. The mistress smirks triumphantly. The wife attempts to speak, but the husband coldly dismisses her, forcing an immediate handover of her work. The wife turns and leaves, her composure unshaken. A flashback shows her happily bringing him cake, then movie tickets. He takes the tickets and rips them in half before her eyes. In the present, the wife watches a hidden camera feed from her own office. She sees the mistress whispering in her husband's ear, placing a hand on his stomach. He smiles. The wife's face is a mask of cold fury. She turns to her laptop. A prompt appears on the screen. Confirm transfer of shares. Her finger hovers over the trackpad, then presses down with finality. The mistress storms into the office. She slams the wife's nameplate onto the desk, then picks up their wedding photo. She drops it, shattering the glass. The wife rushes from behind her desk, kneeling to pick up the pieces. The mistress grabs a kettle of boiling water, just as the husband calls out from the hallway. The mistress panics, pouring the scalding water onto her own hand. She screams in pain, dropping the kettle. Hi! She collapses to the floor, crying hysterically. The husband rushes in, his face filled with concern. He cradles the mistress in his arms, glaring at the wife with pure rage. The mistress plays the victim, her words twisting the truth. A crowd of employees gathers at the door. They murmur in support of the wife. The husband's face hardens. He silences them with a single glare. The wife sees the wedding ring on the mistress's hand, identical to her own. She realizes he gave her ring away. The husband erupts, accusing her of bullying. He officially gives her office to the mistress, ordering her to move out. The wife snaps. She rips up the wedding photo, tossing the pieces into the air like confetti. She grabs a golf club and systematically smashes a glass display case filled with expensive wine and antiques. The husband screams at her to stop, shielding his terrified mistress. The wife continues her destruction, finally pushing the entire cabinet over. It crashes to the floor. She smiles calmly and walks out through the wreckage, leaving them in stunned silence. The wife returns home to find her bedroom completely destroyed, furniture overturned, belongings smashed. A flashback shows men in black suits systematically wrecking the room. The maid reveals it was the husband's doing, a punishment for what she did at the office. She then presents a tray of charred car keys. He had all 5 of her luxury cars burned. The wife picks up a teddy bear from the wreckage, a gift she once gave him. In a flashback, he coldly tossed it aside, uninterested. A memory of their wedding photo shoot flashes by. He looks miserable, refusing to smile. In the present, she takes all of her husband's belongings, the teddy bear, the wedding photos, and throws them into a burning barrel. As the flames consume her past, she remembers his cruel words, his lies, his betrayal. Her face is a mask of cold resolve. She watches the fire burn. Her revenge is coming. At a business investment conference, the husband arrives with his mistress on his arm. The mistress tries to touch the wife, but she recoils in disgust. The wife watches as the husband comforts the mistress, her face a mask of cold indifference. He whispers reassurances to his new love, completely ignoring his wife. The wife calmly takes her seat as a speaker presents an AI investment opportunity. The mistress, sitting next to her husband, smugly bids on the project, confident the wife can't compete. The wife, however, calmly raises her paddle and bids a shocking amount, leaving the mistress and her husband utterly stunned. The bidding war escalates. The wife calmly outbids the mistress at every turn. The mistress, furious and humiliated, accuses her of fraud. The wife simply smiles, turning the accusation back on her. The husband remains silent, his expression unreadable. A mysterious benefactor, through an announcer, offers to back the mistress's bid, adding $1 million to any offer. The announcer declares the mistress the winner. The husband smiles smugly. The wife stands up and appeals directly to the project head, arguing her experience makes her the superior choice. The husband publicly pledges his company's full support to the mistress. The project head, swayed by the promise of corporate backing, awards the project to the mistress. The wife watches, her face a mask of cold fury. Her husband's betrayal is now complete, but her plan is just beginning. The wife receives a text confirming her flight. Her escape is imminent. The mistress taunts her about the failed investment, but the wife simply smiles, knowing the truth. The husband announces a visit to his parents. At the family home, his mother expresses her wish for a grandchild, unaware of the turmoil. In the car, the wife sits in the front seat, a deliberate act of defiance. The mistress joins them, revealing the husband is taking her to meet his parents. The wife's heart breaks again. The husband, trying to comfort his mistress, mentions a car accident where she supposedly saved him. The wife remembers the truth. A flashback shows a fiery crash. It was she who pulled him from the wreckage, her arm badly burned in the process. A scar she still carries. He has given her heroic act to another woman. The mistress feigns sleep. Leaning on his shoulder, he reaches for her arm to see the non-existent scar. The wife watches in the rearview mirror, her expression unreadable. As the truth begins to dawn on him, the husband stares at his mistress's smooth arm, then back at the wife's scarred one. His eyes widening in realization. Suddenly, their car is T-boned by another vehicle. The world explodes in a shower of glass and metal. The husband instinctively shields the mistress. The wife is thrown forward, her head hitting the dashboard. After the crash, the husband frantically tries to open the jammed doors. The wife, bleeding and dazed, reaches out to him. But he only has eyes for the unconscious mistress. Ignoring the wife's desperate pleas for help, paramedics arrive. But he directs them to the mistress, insisting she be treated first. A paramedic tries to reason with him, pointing out the wife's severe injuries, but he refuses to listen. He gets into the ambulance with the mistress, leaving his bleeding wife trapped in the car. As the ambulance drives away, the wife watches, her hand falling limp, her hope finally extinguished. Later, in a hospital room, the mistress wakes up. A nurse tells her she and her baby are safe. Just as the husband walks in with another woman, a younger, prettier version of herself, the mistress stares in disbelief. The cycle of betrayal has begun anew. The wife lies in a hospital bed, bandaged and alone. She rips off her IV, packs her bags, and leaves. The husband gets a call from the mistress and rushes to her side, promising to return for his wife. The wife watches him go, then turns and walks away without a backward glance. She drops her wedding ring into a trash can and walks out of the hospital and out of his life forever. As she leaves, he walks back down the empty hallway, a flicker of regret in his eyes. But it's too late, she is already gone. The wife watches from a hospital bed. She checks her phone. A single message confirms her flight, her escape. The husband, meanwhile, is on the phone with his mother, reassuring her that his wife is fine. He hangs up and rushes back to the wife's room. But it's empty. The nurse scolds him for abandoning his seriously injured wife. He's stunned. He finds her wedding ring in the trash can, a symbol of their shattered life. Panic sets in. He realizes she knows everything. And for the first time, he feels a pang of fear, of loss. He clutches the ring and runs out, desperate to find her, but she is already gone. Vanished into the city, finally free. The wife leaves the office, her former colleagues wishing her well. The husband, driving, tries to call her, but gets no answer. The wife, now in a sleek red convertible, blocks his number, throws her phone away, and puts on a pair of sunglasses, a symbol of her newfound freedom. She drives off, leaving him behind. He spots her car as it passes, a look of shock and confusion on his face. He tries to follow, but she's already gone, speeding away towards a new life, a new beginning, free from his lies and betrayal. The husband gets a call. His parents have arrived. He speeds off, leaving the wife in her red convertible. He arrives home to a furious father, who accuses him of kicking his wife out. The husband denies it, confused, until the maid reminds him of his order to trash the room. He remembers, but insists he never told them to make her leave. His mother slaps him, scolding him for his selfishness. He argues back, blaming the wife. But his words fall on deaf ears. His betrayal has cost him everything. And now, he is truly alone. The husband stands stunned as his mother berates him, her words finally breaking through his wall of denial. She reminds him of his wife's unwavering devotion, how she nursed his father back to health, how she single-handedly saved the company. He realizes, with dawning horror, the depth of his cruelty, the magnitude of his betrayal. He remembers her gentle care, her quiet strength, her unconditional love, and a wave of regret washes over him. He vows to find her, to win her back. Meanwhile, the wife meets with the powerful CEO. She signs over her shares, completing the deal that will destroy her husband's company. The CEO's assistant questions the exorbitant price, but the CEO reveals his true motive. It was never about the company. It was about her. He orders his assistant to acquire the husband's company. The final nail in the coffin. The wife's revenge is complete, and she is finally, truly free. The husband rushes back to the office only to find the mistress on the phone with her ex-boyfriend. Plotting to take over his company, he overhears her plan to marry him, secure the company, and then leave him for her true love. The husband bursts in, confronting her. She denies everything, but he's already seen the truth. He grabs her arm, demanding to know where his wife is, but she plays dumb. A secretary rushes in, announcing that the powerful CEO has taken control of the company. The husband is stunned. He realizes his wife has outplayed them all. She sold her shares, giving the CEO the controlling stake he needed to take over. The mistress's plan is in ruins, and the husband has lost everything. His company, his wife, his future, all gone in a single, devastating blow. The husband stares at the empty office, the reality of his situation crashing down on him. An employee confirms the worst. The CEO is now the majority shareholder. The mistress panics, realizing her plan has failed. The husband, desperate to regain control, orders his staff to buy back the shares, but it's too late. The company's funds are gone, spent on the mistress's failed investments. News of the takeover spreads, and the company's stock plummets. In a last-ditch effort to save his empire, the husband proposes to the mistress, announcing their wedding will signal a new era, a new beginning for the company. She agrees, a flicker of hope in her eyes, but the husband feels nothing, no joy, no relief. As she leaves, the CEO remembers a painful memory, being bullied and beaten as a schoolboy. A young girl, the wife, intervened, saving him from his tormentors. She took him to the hospital, and stayed by his side, a small act of kindness that he never forgot. He realizes he's been in love with her all along. Back in the present, the wife is walking down a dark hallway when a man grabs her from behind, covering her mouth with a cloth. He drags her away, her struggles muffled, her fate uncertain.